Welcome back to Magical Musings with Frater O.D. Today I will continue down the path that I started in the first episode and talk a little bit on the mystery of magic and ritual and its hidden nature. This was a piece where I was trying to get to the heart of what is so mysterious about this. What are we doing when we get into these magic rituals? What is it that we're uncovering? And what are the misconceptions that we have about the practice? Who's it for? Where does it go? What does it do? And so I'll read you a little bit of that and then I'll muse on it to philosophically wax on the topic. It's a common misconception that magic belongs solely to the realms of the gifted, the mystic, or the elite, and that knowledge of its true nature remains concealed from untrained eyes. Indeed, the word magic can evoke stereotypes of occult power, reserved only for a privileged few. Yet this is undoubtedly a fallacy. The power of manipulative magic exists throughout the universe and within each of us, hidden in plain sight and often overlooked by those consumed by a materialist view. See, the fool, often deemed unwise by those enslaved by rational thinking, may reveal a more profound comprehension of reality through their seemingly incongruous perspective. Such remarkable connections span across the physical realm into the creative ether, the divine spirit of limitless light. The deeper purpose of the Fool is to remind us of our true cosmic origins, transcending the mundane existence we've accepted. Tragically, though, as we adapt to this world and succumb to its materialist trappings, that essential cosmic memory is lost within us. Over time, this amnesia engulfs our minds, supplanting our divine heritage with a focus on mere survival and exploitation. The key to nurturing this inheritance lies in embracing the mysteries of magic in its full spectrum. By becoming initiated into this perennial wisdom and the practices of its counterparts, in manipulating this astral fluid, for lack of a better term, we can reclaim our rightful connection to its transformative powers. Our divine spark, capable of causing ripples in the astral realm and shaping material reality, is a testament to our intrinsic cosmic nature. To regain our place within the boundless tapestry of the primal weave, we must first shed our limited perspective and confront the true nature of reality head-on. Through engagement in rituals and practicing magic, we can awaken the divinely bestowed potential within us, ascending to a higher echelon in the hierarchy of being. It is only then that the gates of the divine realm can be flung wide open, accessible through the surrender to the divine will and a humble embrace of cosmic sublimity. This hidden practice is not granted to those obsessed with material progress or those possessed with the myth of progress in its conquest to amass imagined wealth through the rape of the natural world. It is granted to the humble, the meek, and those willing to glimpse into vast interplays of individual wills across the cosmos, a web of infinite possibility. When we embrace our connection to the divine, we expose the falsehoods we have been fed by generations of neglect and submission. For magic is ever present, coursing through all of us as an inherent aspect of our very essence. By devoting ourselves to the multifaceted cosmic forces and recognizing the divine spark within ourselves and others, we reclaim our link to magic. The path to unity with the all is laid before us, a journey toward self-empowerment and a deeper understanding of the immeasurable potential within and without. Thus, by surrendering to the divine will, and opening ourselves to cosmic truths, we can finally restore the eternal wisdom of the primal weave to its rightful place at the heart of all existence. Why is it that we fail to see magic is all around us? As I explored that concept, I started to think back into the narrative of what magic is or has been through history, how we see it, the various stories that have come down to us from this group or from that group about where it is, where it's gone, why it is. It's been a question of mine for quite some time. We have all these wonderful myths, these beautiful stories, where magic was clearly a part of everyday life. Yet we look around in this materialist world, and it doesn't feel magical. It doesn't seem like magic is there. That is until you get into this, and then you realize that it's been there the whole time. It's just our perception that needs to be shifted and changed to allow for that to occur. And so I continued to muse on this idea of the story that's come down to us about magic. Who's it for? Why? Where is it gone? And why do we feel it's not here? Of the nature of the secret history of the world through the eyes of the magician. The mythos of history weaves a hidden tale, one of polarity and conflict. Our species has found itself divided between two realms, one filled with seemingly endless potential, and another constrained by seemingly impenetrable self-imposed limitations. Our myths and our stories are ripe with the motif of that which is permissible and that which is forbidden. From our alleged fall from Eden to the founding of civilization, it is evident that we have fully grasped the world of cant. Mighty constructs such as temples, empires, and churches have arisen, dutifully tasked with determining the confines of human possibility. Nevertheless, the fleeting nature of these structures is evident, as each has ultimately succumbed to the blight brought forth by greed and the gnawing fear of conquest by other prevailing forces. I would like to begin this exploration with a parable to illuminate the deeper recesses of your mind with the mythopoeic jogging of our ancient memory, before beginning a drawn-out lecture on the nature of reality. In the first garden that arose from primal loam, two seeds were sown, that which becometh entwined twofold. Their branches braided and their destinies enmeshed, gently grazing in an amaranthine dance through days. Illumined bravely by the splendorous light of one, and cast in lurking shadows of a tightened tree on t'other. By mortal hands yet guided, they in cosmic silence grew. A gardener did tend and teach, unfolding life and ken. For in the realm of mercurial, shifting shades and sun, the two did part, scissioned by their controlled disposition, presaging the vast expanse as rivals on the stage. In eyes of those who tend and in the throes of time, each a species disparate and divergent was discerned. Yet interwoven roots of fate embraced eternally, and so the shadowed tree did shrivel, in inky darkness draped, with bark like armor of a serpent forged beneath the moon. Inviolate, repellent to the gardener's caring touch, consuming all that titillates the senses, sights, and scents. Its partner, bathed in radiance, sprouted bountiful blossoms, echoing the song of angelic orbs celestial. Through every corner of the garden joy did spread, and the gardener marveled at the fruits of labor past. But wounded by their separation, darkness did conspire. In roots, its silence, unseen grasp, robbing beauty's share. From fertile soil 'twas thieving life to satiate its void, to lash out against the splendor that it could not attain. Defensive and distraught, the beauteous tree, with armor of thorns girded itself, an act misguided pierced. The hands that cared and wrought love's sustenance for life, poisoned by the feud it waged against its own brethren. And so the light grew fleeting, whispers dwindling. Each tree, once a voice of wisdom, lost to silent parting cries. The gardener in wrath and sorrow struck down the shadowed foe, salting earth and breaking every last embrace of root. Yet deep within his heartwood chamber a shrouded shard remained, mementos of those echoes past, a sunken love obscured. For the garden, then a grove, void did fester and consume, the resplendent tree diseased and rotted from beneath. Aghast the gardener in despair found solace in the night, from whence a sage arrived of verdant spirals on their thumbs, who spoke of hidden mysteries, of unity within the strife. The answer lies within the union, synthesis of twain. Upon the sage's guidance, the gardener in solemn reverence did meld the embers of their heartbeat, shadow and the light. And thus a sacred tree emerged, a golden thread adorned, piercing heavens, merging realms, and weaving fate anew. A new tree born, resplendent in unprecedented glory, a testament to transcendence, the boundless power of thought. A parable to challenge, to awaken latent minds. In darkness and in light, the truth shall rise eternal. On the oscillation of power and the denial of spirit. From the dawn of antiquity to the present day, the history of our world has been shrouded in mystery, obscured by the ever-shifting sands of power structures that dictate the limits of our understanding. At each turn, boundaries and sanctified areas were imposed upon us, forbidding even the most courageous souls from seeking the truth of our world, our souls, and our place in it. This secret history reveals an axiomatic pattern. The oscillation of power from one structure to another, bound in polarity, as driven by the denial of the spirit in favor of material pursuits. In the earliest days of civilization, the temples held the sacred responsibility of safeguarding the mysteries and secrets of the people. However, with the inexorable passage of time, the seed of greed took root in their once hallowed halls. The very keepers of knowledge turned to poison, wielding their once noble duties as weapons with which to strip the people of their most sacred possession, the truth. As the temple's grip on power waned, a new form of governance arose, the mighty empires of old. Built upon reason and the nascent seeds of humanism, the prosperity of their citizens seemed assured. But as history revealed, even such seemingly noble aims were ultimately doomed to failure, corrupted by the inexorable pull of avarice. And so the cycle continued, the ancient empires crumbling beneath the weight of their own greed. In the wake of such failure, a new balance emerged with the advent of sages and prophets who sought to restore the pure-hearted. They began a new structure, with the people at its foundation. We called this the Church. Arising from the ashes of failing empires, their intentions sought to resist the pervasive greed that had plagued earlier paradigms. Yet even in their initial purity, the Church harbored the same seeds of contagion, their unyielding desire to resist and destroy that which had stolen the sacred gift of truth. As the Church grew in power and influence, it ultimately succumbed to the same devices of greed and corruption that had toppled those who came before. In a place of synthesis, the world saw polarity. Mired in the fear of subjugation, each new superstructure that rose with noble intentions found itself beset by the same weaknesses as its predecessors. This pattern reveals itself as a constant and unfortunate theme throughout the secret history of the world. In this most enthralling account of our world's secretive past, we delve into the cyclical nature of power and its obstinate oscillation between opposing forces, which time and time again have displayed an unyielding refusal to achieve synthesis. The annals of this mystifying history is laid bare before those who dare traverse its depths. For the occultist, the ritual magician, the metaphysician, the philosopher, those who seek enlightenment amidst enigmatic darkness. As the Church's dominion began to crumble, a novel kind of sage materialized, a scientist, tethered inextricably to data, entranced by an intoxicating dream of progress. And thus the age of reason emerged, bearing the unholy offspring of industrial capitalism. This era has formed the present-day dystopian landscape of what we call late-stage capitalism, wherein the sublime path of logic reigns supreme, only to spawn the harrowing consequences of irrationality. Such blind ambition, driven inordinately by insatiable desires for wealth, thrusts humankind into perilous ventures, forsaking the very sanctity of our resplendent mother at the altar of ill-conceived manifest destiny. The heart of this clandestine chronicle lies within the eternal struggle of polarity, the enigmatic dance between light and dark, good and evil, certainty and doubt, material and spiritual, body and soul, and so on and so on. Perpetually locked in unfathomable conflict, humankind has yet to attain harmony through the synthesis of dualities. This failure to bring forth a trinity of illuminated beings, the venerable sages, prophets, and philosophers, has led us to our modern predicament. Enraged, our Divine Mother threatens to expel us, and lest we bring ruin upon her other progeny with our malignant presence. This is not some Gnostic misanthropy, nay, it is the revelation that the idea of duality itself has generated the existence it so feared. The power of their word and belief so potent that in their drama they have created that which they feared. A world of matter that lashes out and binds the spirit because we spoke it into being. But the gospel is that we have made it. So too can we unmake it by understanding the laws of the cosmos and how one might unwind the curse on the individual soul and become a beacon for others to see. This piece I wrote thinking about the dangers of polarity, of duality, and of the endless series of events that seems to occur when we try to change or bury some element of our past. The poetic piece of two seeds planted in the garden, although heavily veiled in imagery, I hope portrays what happens when darkness and light are forced to exist on opposite ends of the spectrum instead of, from our perspective, being unified into one synthesis. It is very dangerous when we widen the gap between polar ends, when we place ourselves in between the distinct aspects of one. Most of this book that I was working on, that I'm now recording, is developed on the mathematics of the universe, of how 1 begets 2 and 2 begets 3 and so on. But it all begins with that first initial outpouring from the 1, that reflection of 2 back to 1. The basis of everything that we experience is within the shell of duality. It makes unity very difficult to see. But it's there. And it's our job as magicians, as seekers of truth, mystics, whatever label you choose to assign to yourself, to bring those two pieces, those seemingly disparate pieces, into a synthesis, or different sides of the same coin, and how we utilize that understanding, the synthesis of light and dark, of matter and spirit. That's what defines our work. That's what brings us greater understanding and wisdom, is bringing seemingly disparate parts together in our own magical way, in our own individual, uniquely appointed ways. And that seems like a very dark way to begin talking about it, but as I went down this rabbit hole, as I kept thinking and musing and waxing poetically on what brought us to this massive predicament we're in now, where we can't see the spiritual. We have rampant disease, mental disorders. We have all of these seemingly horrific things happening. And it comes from a place of amnesia, of not understanding who we are, where we come from. And this piece, The Whispers of the Monad, was an attempt to, at least in my own mind, work out and suss out what needed to be done in order for us to see that.